Hey there guys, welcome back to another awesome video. We got another top 10 video, and since we've already done the top 10 worst movies of this year, let's take a look at the best movies of this year. We got the worst out of the way. Let's take a look at what I consider the best of this year, with two technicalities with this. First technicality is that I didn't see a lot of movies that came out this year, so there's going to be some technicalities with this list. And number two is that some of these movies you guys might not even consider or have considered to be the best of this year, but these are just the ones I think that were generally the best, I enjoyed the most, whatever the reason is. Let's get right into it. At number 10, we got the Super Mario movie. This really felt like a great, or at least the closest to a really great adaptation of what we see as Mario. With how fun it is, the colors, it's definitely a lot better than that 90s movie we got with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, and I just feel like this captures that energy very well. The cast, say what you will about it, whether you like it or not, they really handled this very well. Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy, Keegan-Michael Key, Seth Rogen, and of course Jack Black, all handling their roles respectfully, and this just feels like the year of video game adaptations finally. Number 9 is Puss and Boots, The Last Wish. I would have had this movie up higher because of how beautiful the animation is, and I just loved this tale of Puss in Boots and in basically his battle with death. But obviously this technically came out in late 2022, but I considered this like early 2023, so it kind of like has that borderline thing, kind of like Nightmare Alley, because I counted that as like 2022/2021 sort of movie. So this is kind of in that same category, but beautiful animation, beautiful story. This just took me by surprise. At number 8 is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We can all maybe agree or disagree. This wasn't needed, this wasn't necessary, but we can definitely at least agree that this is better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Even if you don't like how Indiana Jones is in this film, he at least feels like Indiana Jones compared to Kingdom of Crystal Skull, and I don't know, I just had a fun time with Dial of Destiny. I know it's not perfect, I know it's not a great movie, but I just had a great time and a fun time. This was a really good summer blockbuster, and I'm glad I got to see it. Number 7 is The Menu, another movie that is borderline 2022/2023, but I think this was really handled very interestingly, very original, especially the take of like this sort of like satirical, cynical aspect to not just the cooking world, but also to the idea of art, and cooking is considered an art and how serious you take it. And it's almost like they weren't like making fun of that, but it was almost like this really cynical but also self-referential way of how cooking is seen as art. And I think the talent was excellent as well, and this was chef's kiss. Number 6 is Elemental, yet another beautifully animated movie, and this one actually came out this year. And Pixar really just did this so fantastically. And say what you will, if you don't like this movie or the fact that this is basically Zootopia with elements, I just still love this idea. I just love this world, how this is. I love the relationship with Ember and Wade, and I actually just wound up feeling the feels. Actually even wound up having tears coming down my face, and I felt the feels towards the end. Alright, we're down my final 5 on my list. Now, number 5 is Five Nights at Freddy's. I had to include this movie. I really loved this movie a lot, and I personally, from someone who is not a diehard FNAF fan, who is just becoming a newcomer or becoming a FNAF fan, I really loved how well this was handled with the source material, even the Easter eggs, and just the story alone. I felt it did capture what people would expect with the gameplay and even its lore. At number 4 is Sly. This was a really great documentary, and yes, I could be saying that because Sylvester Stallone is one of my favorite actors, but also I like the background, where he came from, and it does feel very genuine because this is him telling his story. And obviously documentaries are meant to have that feel, but sometimes documentaries could come off as very, very not so genuine and very fake. This one doesn't feel fake. And I don't know, I just really loved that Sylvester Stallone story almost paralleled Rocky's story, that he was an underdog as an actor, and look at where he is now. He's still an iconic name and a talented man, even at 70 years old, almost 80 years old. I think he's 78, whatever the case is, age doesn't matter. The point I'm making is that he's still kicking it for how old this icon, this legend is. Number 3 is Godzilla -1. Now, I didn't technically fully see this movie, and the reason why this is on this list is because I did catch a few clips of this, and from what I saw, I really wanted to include Godzilla -1, even if I haven't fully seen the movie. But I love how that this feels the closest to something like the original 1954's Godzilla, with the idea that Godzilla is the antagonist and that he is the result of what man has created with weapons of mass destruction and radiation, and what we as man have created, and that we've created the monster. And who is really the monster here? You have these characters that you follow along the way, and you have such a really cool design with Godzilla. Now, with these two, it's always, whenever I do these lists, I always have a struggle on my number 1 and my number 2. So, my number 2 is, without a doubt, is Across the Spider-Verse. I really liked this movie from start to finish. It definitely had the fan service where it needed. It had just the right amount of fan service. It served as a really excellent sequel, a very captivating story, and while progressing Miles Morales as the hero and making him more of an individual and carrying that with him going forward. Really interested where Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to take these characters. And now, before I reveal my number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The creator. This has been getting a little bit of bad rep, but honestly, I think there are some people that genuinely did like this movie, and from what I heard, it has potential. I think you have the right amount of potential here with John David Washington as your lead. It's a sci-fi film directed by Gareth Edwards. There is potential here, and it is an original idea, and just let's give it a little more love, because we could use a little more original ideas in this world of so many IPs. As much as we love the IPs, it's always nice to always include the originals and original ideas, so that way the Hollywood's not dead. Oppenheimer, talk about a phenomenon with Christopher Nolan and the atomic bomb, and that alone just has literally, no pun intended, exploded. Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese in 2023 with Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Brendan Fraser, and a few other people involved. Sign me up, and hopefully I check this out sometime. Yes, I know it's 3.5 hours, but hey, hopefully I get to check it out sometime, because it seems like it's been doing pretty well. The Boy and the Heron. I wanted to see this before the new year. This and another honorable mention that we'll get into in a second, but I was so close to seeing them, and I wanted to see them, but I think I'll probably wind up seeing these later on into the new year. But Studio Ghibli back with people like Robert Pattinson, Mark Hamill, Dave Bautista, Florence Pugh. This just sounds like a match made in heaven almost. Like, this sounds like a perfect dream cast. Poor Things. I don't know what the story with Poor Things is, but apparently I've been seeing a lot of promos for it. There's been this whole visual story with it, with Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe in it, and that trio just sounds like an intriguing cast, and the visuals look very much like an Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz feel. Not what you expect, and it's not what it seems to be, and I think that's what's making it curious for me. But still, even if it is what I expect it to be, or if it flips it on its head, I still want to see this, but I still hear good things. And now, my number 1 pick, my top 10 best movies of 2023 is, drumroll please, this was a fun movie, this was a blast, and we'll talk about a perfect way to end a franchise, and while also just harking on those feels and tugging on those heartstrings. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I just had such an attachment to this movie, and I really felt like that kind of wagered it for me. I really was close to saying SpiderVerse, but I think the emotion and just how much we love these characters, these outsiders, these underdogs, and that this was such a perfect sign off, and without even killing anyone off. That's even the best part, is that it was like a band kind of just dispatching, and it just, like, almost every moment, it had the right amount of moments for us to have a second to laugh and breathe, while also giving us moments to actually soak in the emotions, soak in those tears, and soak in the sadness that is not only that this is the end, but also welcome in that, hey, let's accept that this is acceptance of this is the end of the Guardians, and yes, we will see these characters later in the MCU, but this is the end for the Guardians of the Galaxy as the movies go. And those are my favorite movies of this year. Let me know in the comments section down below, what are your favorite movies that came out this year? Were there any I missed? There's tons I definitely forgot, but let me know down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like this video, please smash the like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to awesome videos every day, if not every week. Make sure you ring that bell to new videos every week. Share the video with any friends, all that good stuff and more. Leave some suggestions in the comment section. You name it, I'll look into it as best as possible. I hope you guys have a happy new year. Hopefully 2023 treated you well, and if it didn't, let's hope for the best for 2024. And I appreciate all of you that did stay with me for this year, and any of you that found me before 2023. If you've been with me on this road so far and you're still sticking with me, whatever the case may be, whether it's a short road for you, a long trip, whatever it is, I appreciate it. And look out for my most anticipated movies of 2024. That'll be a little bit later, probably in the beginning of January, the first week or second week of January. Either way, look out for that. There will be scheduled shorts and a few other videos and other streams and other stuff, and plenty more new ideas and more for 2024. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.